haven't talked about whys. Why are you taking Balance University? What's your purpose? Okay, I think most of us in here would say because we don't want to fall, right? Most of us would say that we want to stay independent. We want to avoid any health complications that falls cause. But have you really thought about, have you really thought about why you're in here and doing what you're doing? And so what I did was I made up a little list. Now your list may be different, I understand that, but this is a list of why I'm doing this, right? Not as an instructor, but as a participant, okay? And we'll run through a general list of what most people, I think, why they are doing this. First off the top, it's the cost, right? It's the cost. Currently, 16.5% of the U.S. population of 328 million people, or 54 million over the age of 65, that's according to the last census. By 2030, that number will rise to 74 million. So the U.S. population is 328 million. 54 million are over the age of 65. 10,000 people turn 65 every day. That trend will continue until the year 2030 and a little bit beyond. So recently, there was some legislation that was going to be passed to help in-home health care and aid in-home health care. If you don't know, we have a shortage of nurses, right? My daughter's a nurse. My wife works in the hospital. My brother's a nurse. I'm very familiar with the shortage of nurses right now, all right? So when it comes to costs, let's look at it from a country standpoint. In 2016, there were $50 billion attributed to fall-related deaths and injuries. Medicare and Medicaid bore 2/3 of that cost. 2016. It's 2022. That was 8 years ago, right? And we still have another 8 years to go to get to 2030. So these costs are just going to continue to rise, right? Now let's talk about the cost to personal costs, right? And sometimes personal costs are not always monetary, right? It costs health, it costs time from family, time from friends, time from activities. But the physical costs, I've seen quotes as high as falls can cost as much to the individual as much as $15,000 to $20,000 per fall, all right? Second thing, social life. We all know that with social life, we have that BDNF that's present. It's considered a novel event along with exercise, right? There's real chemical reaction when we have socialization. When you fall, a lot of people withdraw. They don't want to go to those places where they fall or where they think they're at risk for a fall. They get worried about who they're going around and with who, if it's tennis or if it's pickleball. Sometimes they'll withdraw and cut that down when in reality they should be fledging full steam ahead. What happens when you withdraw? Depression. Believe it or not, depression is a very serious issue with our seniors. The brain shrinks as well. Right? So then we just go down that spiral. So falls impact our social life. This is something we don't want to give up because it impacts so much of our life. Number 3, family. How much time does family give after a fall? What if you have to have a surgery? Right? What if you have to have therapy? Are you having family members or, a spouse that may be a caregiver that's having to spend extra time? And think about the extra money. Physical therapy to private pay is about $160, $180 per session. So, that's another cost-related impact. All right, now let's talk about our health. I touched on it, how that downward spiral starts. So whenever you become less social and that depression starts to sink in, a lot of times people stop eating. If we stop eating, what does that do to our muscles, right? What does that do to our health overall? We're not getting those vitamins and minerals from that food that we need to stay strong and keep our health, our immune system strong. Not only that, but we don't have the energy to power our muscles. So that leg strength starts to decline. And we all know how important leg strength is to our balance and to our overall health and life. Final, independence, right? Most of us want to stay independent for as long as possible. Just a recent statistic from the American Healthcare Association and the National Center for Assisted Living. Listen carefully here. Nearly every nursing home, 99%, And assisted living communities, 96% in the U.S. are facing a staffing shortage, right? What kind of care do you think you're going to get? 40% of falls result, I think it's I better be careful here. It's about 40%, don't quote me, of falls lead to admission into nursing homes, assisted living facilities, right? That's a really high number, okay? And now once you enter there, you have another statistic. You have 3 out of 4, as many as 3 out of 4 nursing home residents fall each year. Falls for older adults living in the community. Patients often fall more than once. The average fall is 2.6 falls per year. Right? Now, I'm not picking on these communities. I'm not picking on them. They're doing everything they can. But if you just don't have the staffing abilities, you can't keep eyes on everybody. And then if your employees are tired, they're overworked, which this study also showed, that a vast majority of these folks are asking their employees to work more. Just think about the type of care you're going to get. So if we can stay mobile and independent for as long as possible, that's going to help everyone, including ourselves and our families, all right? How's that sound? Good? Yeah. Let's rock and roll.